As human beings, we have the remarkable ability to jump to conclusions, assuming that we know the truth of a situation when we've actually completely misjudged it. And one of the most powerful learning experiences a person can have is a paradigm shift. A shift in perspective that allows us to see something in a fundamentally different way. And in Parshas Sholach, Moshe sends the Meraglim to scout out the land of Eretz Yisrael. And with the exception of Yoshua and Kalev, the Meraglim return with a negative report. And while we often think of their account as a malicious libel, this actually doesn't seem to be the case when the story is read on a surface level. As the spies scouted the land, they witnessed many giants burying their dead, and upon return, the spies reported this to the Jewish people. And Chazal explained that the Meraglim violated the prohibition of Lashon Hara, evil speech. But the Meraglim spoke the truth. They saw people dying and they passed on that information. Wasn't that their job to report what they saw? But there are actually two levels of truth. The first is how things appear on the surface. The second is the meaning that lies behind that exterior. In the same sense, there are two levels of sight. The first is physical sight, which allows you to see the physical exterior of the object. And the second is spiritual sight, which gives meaning and depth to that which you see. An improper sight is seeing only that which is on the surface, without seeing that which truly lies behind it. And when the surface no longer reflects a deeper truth, it becomes a shell of an object, lacking any internal meaning. For example, if you were to look at someone's face and see only flesh and bone without recognizing that there's a consciousness, a living soul behind that surface, that would be an egregious corruption of sight. And the Meraglim's physical sight was fine, but what they lacked was spiritual sight. They physically saw giants burying their dead, but they interpreted this to mean that the land consumes its inhabitants. And in reality, as the Gemara in Sota explains, this was a miracle that Hashem performed to help the Meraglim in their mission. Hashem killed off the leaders of the giants in each city so that the dwellers would be distracted with their funerals, ensuring that the Meraglim could travel through Eretz Yisrael undetected. The death of the giants was simply the external reality. The spies' mistake lay in projecting faulty meaning onto it. And similarly, the Meraglim reported to Klal Yisrael that when they came across the giants, we were like grasshoppers in our eyes, meaning they projected their fear and lack of faith onto the giants. In their own eyes, the giants viewed them as grasshoppers. And they were no longer conveying an account of objective reality. Rather, they were projecting their own spiritual and existential insecurities onto their experience. And this was their twofold mistake. The Meraglim not only misunderstood their experience, but they then reported this distortion back to Klal Yisrael. And we can now explain why this was a violation of Lashon Hara. Speech enables us to connect with other people. It embodies the power of connection. And Lashon Hara, evil speech, takes the very tool of connection, speech, and uses it to disconnect people from each other. When you speak negatively about someone, you create a wall between the person you're speaking with and the subject of your negativity. The very tool of connection has been corrupted to achieve its opposite goal. And through speech, the Meraglim disconnected Klal Yisrael from Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael is the makom, the place where Hashem connects to the world and most intimately connects to Klal Yisrael. And by using speech to disconnect Klal Yisrael from Eretz Yisrael, the Meraglim were effectively separating Klal Yisrael from Hashem. In a deep sense, this was the most nefarious form of Lashon Hara imaginable. As the Ramban explains, everything that the Meraglim said was technically true, but they failed to see what lay beneath the surface. And this is the epitome of Lashon Hara, taking the truth and distorting it in order to create harm. Lying is a separate problem. The evil of Lashon Hara is not a fabrication, but a corruption of the truth. And the Meraglim suffered from a spiritual disease of ayin ra, an evil eye. They had sight, but no vision. They saw, but were blind. And we all have our own unique paradigms of ourselves, of the world around us, and of Hashem. And we have the power of choice. We get to choose how we perceive reality and the meaning we give to our experiences. Many of us have sight, but only a few among us truly see. And the goal of life is to embark on a genuine journey of shifting our paradigms, of aligning our spiritual sight with the true nature of reality. We will never achieve perfect spiritual sight, but we can get a little closer every day. May we be inspired to continuously expand our horizons, to revolutionize and reconstruct our set paradigms, and build deeper eyes through which we can see the world.